Welcome to another day in the Matrix. This is Red Pill Podcast number 102. I hope you're all having an amazing weekend so far. Wishing you all an incredible Sunday. It's March 12th. We have a lot to get into today. I have a big decode to share with everyone. So the entire next week is just packed full of numbers. I'm really excited to break all that down. But before we get going, get relaxed, get yourself comfortable, grab a cup of coffee or tea. If it's the morning time, I have myself some coffee over here. Or if it's the night, go ahead, grab yourself a glass of wine or a beer or a beverage of your choice. Again, I appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. Grateful for the Wolf Pack. And we had an incredible live stream yesterday. I did pretty much a full decode on iPetGoat 2 and just got into my flow state, and it was really amazing. Went for about 3 hours and had almost 800 people join us at one point. So it's amazing to see the live streams growing and everyone tuning in. And the live chat was just so incredible. Lots of people communicating and getting to know each other better. So we really are doing something amazing here. And I'm just so grateful for all of you. But with that being said, if you are new to the Wolfpack and you would like access to our Discord and you haven't yet, go ahead and send me a message on Patreon with your full Discord username and the last 4 numbers after your username, and I will reply back in a Patreon message with your Discord server invite. Also, we're doing incredible with the coin voting system for our altcoins that we go over in these episodes. And somebody was asking me about Veritasium. I believe it is a project that has been recommended to me many times, but I just can't get a chart for it. For some reason, there's nothing available on TradingView, and I can't use the CoinMarketCap chart or the CoinGecko chart available. So if you guys know of a third-party application, something that has the very chart, and I could throw some indicators up on it and some fibs and look at different time frames. If I could scam different time frames, that would be incredible. Just feel free to send that my way, and perhaps next week I could review it. So we are doing amazing with the voting system, but just make sure that I could actually look at the chart. If I can't look at the chart on TradingView, I'm not going to be able to review the coin, no matter how many votes it gets. So just wanted to let everyone know of that. One moment. All right. Grabbing my coffee, and let's get into some dates. I just want to brush through some of the week as we've gone over big important dates such as March 15th, the Ides of March. We went over the date of the 14th as well leading into that, and we're just going to kick things off strong with tomorrow being March 13th, this Monday, day of the moon. It starts off strong by the code because it is the 72nd day of the week, and that 72 ties us back to Bitcoin with 72, as well as money with 72, all tied to currency. And if you look right here, the date connection between March 13th and this upcoming solar eclipse is 38 days, and here's where we have another currency connection. Well, 38 is showing up in gold. You could see that right there. Now, another thing that's pretty incredible about this day of March 13th, it is let me see really quickly, the 59 date numerology, and this 59 is the 17th prime number. So we're going to get another connection here with gold, giving you 17 over there in Chaldean. Now, 38 days also adds up to being 1 month and 7 days. So this number 38 and 17 are sort of coded into each other, and it's amazing that here on gold, in the 2 most powerful ciphers that I like to use, we're getting that 38. We're also getting that 17. And it doesn't surprise me that we saw that big shot up in gold, was it about a year ago, because of this 70 connection coming back to Shemitah with the 70. And we know the Shemitah is all about the number 7. Anytime you're seeing this number 25, you know it's coming back to crypto and it's coming back to finances. We have the number 52 and 25 we're going to get into in a moment. But with that being said, this Monday definitely opening up strong, and kind of makes sense because it'll be the 11th week of the year. That 11 master number, we're approaching it just 24 hours. So let's get to March 14th, and this is your third quarter moon, as you can see right there, March 14th. So this will now naturally be 37 days until the next eclipse, and this will be the 73rd day of the year. So you have that 37, that's 73, as above, so below, and 37 is the 12th prime number, while 73 is the 21st prime number, again, as above, so below. And it is tied to the May 5th eclipse. This is an eclipse we're going to start talking about a lot because it's approaching soon. And you can see that May 5th connected to March 14th gives you 52 days, as I was just talking about before. Shemitah giving you that 25, which is the mirror. Also notice how Shemitah has the 38, just like gold. This is very coded. But let me show you. Cryptocurrency equals 52, as we're saying 52 days between these two dates. Now, naturally, May 5th, you could look at it as 5-5, which is 2 5s. This is how we do our decoding a little bit more from the esoteric. This 5-5 as well tied back to Satoshi Nakamoto with the 5-5 in full reduction and Chaldean cipher. As I said before, the 5-5s, 5-5 is 2 5s. That ties us back to, as I showed you a moment ago, with crypto, but also you could see crypto giving you that 25, but BTC, the ticker symbol tied to Bitcoin, which is tied to Satoshi Nakamoto. And speaking of this number 52 and 25 connection to Satoshi, his birthday is 4-5. Now, this to me, it's amazing because it's a 52 date numerology this year. So even his birthday is coded with this 52, as we were talking about before, which naturally makes Hal Finney's birthday the same, 52 date numerology. And these two are connected to each other. Another thing is if you're taking that March 14th to May 4th, Hal Finney's birthday, it gives you 7 weeks and 2 days, which is that 72, again, tied back to Bitcoin, as we were talking about a moment ago. In my last video, I shared a 22-day cycle. You guys probably remember my last YouTube video. I was showing the chart of 2019, and we'll be getting into this a little bit today with the TA, but I was showing this 22-day cycle and how actually on the 10th of March, which was just 2 days ago, that was one of the first 22-day cycles that I pointed out. And then the next 22-day cycle was measuring off the last time Bitcoin hit 25,000 over to March 15th. March 15th, again, being Ides of March. But getting back to that 22-day cycle and, all of these connections here, if you take from March 14th, which we were just talking about moments ago, it's the day before Ides of March, and you tie that to Satoshi Nakamoto's next birthday, that's 22 days. It's pretty amazing how this whole week is so coded by the numbers specifically to crypto and specifically to money and currency and markets. This is a heavy week for markets, guys. And now that you're seeing this code, it should make so much sense to you why 3 years ago in 2020 on the 12th leading into the 13th, which in 2020 was a Friday the 13th, as you can see right there, the market bottomed. Bitcoin hit like 3,000 something. It crashed on the 12th because of the C-19 pandemic starting, which led to a huge sell-off on Thursday, the 12th. And then we had this Black Friday event. This is absolutely mind-blowing to go back and remember this time because everyone was losing their minds. Everyone thought Bitcoin would go to zero, and it was the low on that Friday the 13th. And what's amazing about it is the crash date, the 12th, was the 72nd day of the year, tied back to Bitcoin. And it was the 55 date numerology tied back to Satoshi Nakamoto. With that 55. It's absolutely incredible how this was all coded in. Oh, also, look at that 10. And we were talking about that 10 tied back to Mars and that being sort of a negative influence. We just were in the 10th week of the year. And on March 10th, we had Bitcoin come down to 19,500. It hit a microcycle low thus far. So we'll be getting into that later. But 10th week of the year, 10th day in the month of March, and Mars gives you 10 in Chaldean. So I reviewed this in my last YouTube video. But Wow, now that I'm seeing, holy moly. If you look between March 12th, the day of that crash, over to April 5th, Satoshi's next birthday, it's 3 years, 3 weeks, and 3 days. I didn't even have that planned out today, so this is very random, and it's the 1119, 911 in reverse. Whew. All right. Well, this was the official crash date. I can't get too ahead of myself, but that 333 is absolutely crucial. This is coming up to the vernal equinox. It's the 113 connection. So when are we getting the, oh my goodness. Okay, we'll keep this in mind. We're getting this 111 date. Just give me a moment. Wow. Huge find, man. Huge find. With the 4 ones, the 1111, as you would see on the clock. Which naturally, this was the low day, so you would maybe want to span it out to the 29th. Hey guys, I didn't have this planned, so this is really, really interesting. We have a 75-57 connection. Remember, we just went through Super Bowl 57. That was all ritualized for the Chiefs, as I shared in my Super Bowl 57 decoded. And we have the 21 date numerology. 21 connected back to Saturn, connected back to Satoshi. Mind-blowing. All right, well, damn. I love decoding on the fly. It's very fun, especially when you find these mind-blowing connections. So let's bring it back to this year, and let's get back on track with this. So I was sharing that 22-day cycle, and March 14th, also excuse any background noise. I'm dealing with some people across from my apartment, which have been on an ongoing party for the last 48 hours. Yeah, humanity. We have to live amongst it and not judge it, but learn how to work around it. I'm doing my best. But anyways, in that last video, I shared that 22-day cycle. Connecting this Satoshi's birthday to March 14th gives you that 22 days. And I also just want to talk about the significance of 314. That's your pi connection. 3.14 is pi. Now, this date is really, really interesting with 314 because remember the Bitcoin all-time high happened on November 10th of 2021, and that's your 314th day of the year. So you have your 314, 314. Definitely important to think about if you wanted to add even more significance to March 14th. Now, let's make a couple final connections on this date before we move over to the Ides of March. Remember we were talking about May 5th, this lunar eclipse that's going to be coming up. Again, 52 days, like we were talking about with cryptocurrency being 52 in Gematria. Well, 52 is 7 weeks and 3 days, 7-3, and March 14th is the 73rd day of the year. 73 is your 21st prime number, 21 tying you back to Saturn, which is Satoshi. Like Bitcoin has 21 million coins in supply. Remember also I was talking moments ago how Bitcoin hit its all-time high on the 314th day of the year, and it's March 14th, that connection with the 314, and Saturn equals 69, just like Bitcoin hits 69,000 as its current all-time high. So just a couple connections there. Let's move on to the Ides of March, the following day, which I've decoded enough for everyone, but just going to finally wrap some ideas up. Going to be connecting it to the 20th, which is the upcoming solar eclipse. Now, we have a bunch of 15s and 5 1s. We have the 15th day of the actual year, and we have 1 month and 5 days or 5 weeks and 1 day. I mean, that's a lot of 1s and 5s and 5s and 1s. Of course, this comes back to Mars with the 5115, also Moon with the 5115. Now, what I want to talk about, though, is this 36 days in between. 36 bringing us to the periodic table with Krypton. This is very important. I've talked about this a couple times. It's definitely going to be something that I break down more in my upcoming decoding mastermind. But Krypton is where we get the word crypto from, kryptos, which means hidden or secret or esoteric, basically. Now, kryptos giving you a 27 in Chaldean, and that 27 tying you directly back to Jupiter with the code. And this is about the age of Pisces. We're in the age of Pisces right now. Current sign we're in this month. We're currently in March 12th. We're in Pisces. So the connection here is Jupiter is the sign ruler of Pisces, but we can see Pisces giving you that 23 in Chaldean tied to Bitcoin giving you 23 in Chaldean. So we know this is a big month for Bitcoin, and it doesn't, it doesn't shock me that they set up the fake birthday and the mythology of Satoshi Nakamoto to be on April 5th. Let's go into this just for a moment. It's for fun. So we have Pisces in the tropical system ending on March 20th. We're going to be getting into the vernal equinox in a moment, but that's definitely something to consider. This vernal equinox, I've been talking about it for a while. I spoke on it in the Year of the Rabbit Decoded going back to January, pretty much at the beginning of the new year. We were talking about that. One moment. Also, I hope you guys are having an amazing, amazing weekend. Sending you all a lot of love. So we're going to look at sidereal, and you're going to actually see that Pisces is from March 15th through April 13th. So in sidereal, Satoshi Nakamoto is a Pisces. Doesn't surprise me at all, to be completely honest. I mean, I'm not here to say that tropical is a bad system or it's fake or it's lesser than, not at all. They're both useful, but you want to consider sidereal if you don't know about it. Just wanted to point that out really quickly for those that are into the astrology. Oh, and also last week we did a podcast of Pisces and the upcoming full moon, which already passed. And there was a little bit of confusion about people assuming I was saying it's a full moon in Pisces with lunar astrology, and that's not what I meant. It was a dual decode of Pisces zodiac as well as that upcoming full moon. In lunar astrology, that full moon would have been in Virgo, which I'm aware of. I don't really care to talk too much about that kind of stuff because I'm already aware that there's astrologers who focus on crypto only, and that's their game. They look at it through that perspective. And for me, it's sort of useful, but not as useful as my system. But now, with that being said, I think that if there's astrologers out there that also know the charts and can do TA, well, then that could be very helpful for them in their perspective. But luckily, I have one of the greatest resources of all time for astrology, which is Logan over at Decode Your Reality. And since collaborating with him so much and him becoming a friend of mine, it's helped immensely in my decoding abilities. So shout out to him, an amazing decoder. And we're actually going to be connecting sometime tonight for a presentation podcast on October of this year. We're going to be talking about pretty much everything from now until October, November, specifically about the markets. So if you guys are interested in that, you're not going to want to miss the upcoming podcast that I do with Logan later tonight. Just actually crossed my mind a minute ago. Now, getting back to, we were talking about Satoshi Nakamoto and this Ides of March connection. So naturally, that is 21 days apart, just like Satoshi is Saturn and Saturn equals 21. And it's amazing how Ides of March connected to Satoshi's next birthday gives you that 21 days. Again, all coded in. And really quickly, let me just pull up the Wikipedia page for Satoshi. So you're going to see that on the 5th officially turns 48. But right now, currently 47. And this is the 74th day of the year. So 47 is the mirror of 74. I mean, how incredible is this code? It's so fascinating to me as I continue to decode how many things start to pop up. But getting back to all of this, March 15th through the 20th, 36 days tied to Krypton, which is where we get the word crypto from. And I showed you all of that moments ago. Now let's move it on a little bit. I also believe that on The 15th, we have the Fed speaking. You guys can correct me in the comments section if that's not accurate, but I believe the Fed will be speaking on that day. And that doesn't surprise me because it's a Wednesday, which is Mercury Day, miércoles. That has everything to do with finances, money, commerce, actually, and fiat money specifically, which is the Federal Reserve System. And it's the Wednesday in the year 2023. We're in the Hebrew year of 5783, which adds up to 23. We have Bitcoin giving you 23 in Chaldean. And speaking of Mercury, you have Mercury giving you 23 in Chaldean. Can't make this up. So naturally, let's move over to the 18th of March. I do think I spoke about this, but we have the 33 days connected to April 20th, all right? So that span of time is 4 weeks and 5 days, just like Satoshi Nakamoto's birthday is on April 5th, the 4-5 date. Can't escape this code. So we have that definitely significant. It's a Saturn day. That'll be when I do my next live stream. We have the 77th day of the year being this Saturn day. Definitely want to consider this. And it would be connected again to Satoshi Nakamoto. Let me show you. As the first day of Rosh Hashanah, which is coming up on September 15th of 2023. And you could see that is 181 days. And that is Satoshi Nakamoto. 181, which is the 42nd prime number. Amazing. Palindrome of 18, 181. It'll be the 18th day of the month of March, which is the true first month in the system. Again, you would write that internationally, 181, 181 days apart. Amazing. And this is connected to Satoshi Nakamoto's birthday by 18 days. 18. That's a big number in Judaism, as a lot of you are aware. So this will be naturally 3 days out from the new moon. And this new moon is on the 21st, just the day after the vernal equinox, pretty much within the same time frame. We have a 21. We were talking about these 21s tied to Saturn and Satoshi. This is 2 weeks and 1 day from Satoshi's birthday. And naturally 1 month away from the eclipse, which we spoke on the number 181 being the 42nd prime number, as you can see right here. And this will be 4 weeks and 2 days, another 42-24 connection. The new moon on the 21st and the solar eclipse on April 20th also have the same date numerology. You could see this right here. You have 67, 67, 13, and 13. So these dates are definitely coded. And 67 being your 19th prime number, 19 coming back to Ra by the code. Ra being the taker, not the giver. And also you have this 13. And the 13 being your 13th is your 6th prime number. The number 6 is important. It is carbon. It is the number of man. So we were just talking about the number 13, that being tied to the 6th prime, but 13 is more of your number of the sun of God, which is what you are. You are carbon man, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. It's not the mark of the beast. That is a corrupted, nonsensical, lacking in sophistication, biblical corruption at best. The 13 being the Son of God, the dragon, the one who incarnates into this physical realm, the simulacrum, the matrix. The number 13 pretty much associates with the womb, with the matrix, with the Christ, with the one, Neo from the matrix. We have 13 months in a year. It's not month, it's moonth from moon. We have 13 moons. When your mother isn't pregnant for 9 months, she's pregnant for 10 moonths. It's all a lie. They lie through the language, and you can just see. When you learn etymology, you could see through those lies. Your mother has you in the womb for 10 moonths, 10, 10. That's the binary code. That's when you enter the matrix. The matrix, matrice, womb in French. It's all in the words. I'll be getting really deep into this in the Decoding Mastermind, by the way. If you guys like this stuff, let me know more of what you're interested in for me to decode and to have tutorials on. The mirror of the number 13 that we were talking about a moment ago is the 31, and that will be your day of the vernal equinox. So we're going to wrap up this here. Okay, final connection with the vernal equinox on March 20th, 31 days until the eclipse, which is that mirror of that number 13 that we were talking about earlier. 31 is your 11th prime number, 11th being the master number. And this date is so significant because it's the 79th day of the year, 79 coming back to gold on the periodic table. You can see that right there. Aurum, which is tied to the sun. We were just talking about that moments ago, where the 13th sign is the sun. So we got that 79. Oh, and also some people are probably thinking if they're in sidereal, well, the 13th sign is Ophiuchus. Well, okay, like hold your horses. There's a lot to get into, like with all of that stuff. So please, 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 decoders, unite, and in simplicity. But our systems that we're working with are heavily corrupted, and we need to do our best as decoders on the symbology and the logos, not so much on these, not so much on the words itself. It's about seeing through it much, much deeper. But yeah, Ophiuchus is definitely part of this story. The serpent bearer, the dragon is the serpent, the black hole portal called the sun. The sun is not a ball of fire, it's a portal. Black hole sun below. Helios, hell is low. Apollo, apple low. They're lying in the words. As above, so below. They're talking about the black sun, not this portal above us, which is the serpent bearer. This is deep. We're gonna go deep in this decoding mastermind. I think about it now more and more as I'm starting to talk with more people this way. It's really illuminating me and motivating me more to get as much out there as possible to help people be able to just look at any word or decode pretty much anything without having to get lost in the definitions, because this is what they teach humanity. They teach you definitions, but they don't teach you meanings. A couple more connections here. We had that 79 connection through gold. Let me see where we're at. This will be tied to the last day of Jubilee as well. So we were talking a little bit about Jubilee, and the 17th will be the final day. That's 181 days, which is the 42nd prime. September 17th, standard date numerology is 24, which is the mirror of 42. So these dates are heavily, heavily coded together. The metal associated with the sun is gold, and we were showing that 79. The sun is gold. So gold being 38. We're talking about that earlier in the decode. 38 is 3 8s, 888, which is 24. We were just showing you this day is a 24. It is a sun day, day of the sun, tied back to gold. It's incredible. It'll be the 17th day of September, gold giving you that 17 in Chaldean, 17 being the 7th prime. September is Septem, which is 7, which is the 7th month in the Hebrew system. It should be in our system as well, but the Gregorian calendar is corrupted. This is the Alpha Omega, 24 hours in a day, which is all associated to the movement of the sun. Alpha Omega equals 79 and 38. 79 tied to the 79th day of the year, which is tied to gold, and Alpha Omega 38 tied to gold. Alpha giving you 38. Omega being the last letter, in the Greek alphabet, which is the 24th letter in their alphabet. 24. The Sunday is the final day of the week. It's amazing. So, vernal equinox, giving you that 69. This will be the 69th day, 69 date numerology, excuse me. So a lot more connections here, and I'm sure you guys are as decoders probably are coming up with things as I go through this. But you know, Bitcoin's current all-time high is 69,000. Saturn is 69. So we're going to wrap this up here, but I definitely see this entire week of the 13th through the 21st. That whole time frame is big. It's very, very big through the new moon and through the vernal equinox. Wow. We went over so much in this. I hope you guys enjoyed the decode. Definitely comment below what are some of your favorite things that are being pointed out in this. And we're going to get into the Dow Jones chart because I think this is very important for us to review. Wow. Okay. So we have this little pattern up here, but I want to quickly just show you the whole chart. So we have this being your current buying climax at 37,000 points, happened around January 5th of 2022. The reason that's not weird is because January 5th in the Gregorian system would be the first month, 5th day, which is 1-5, and that was during the year of the tiger, and tiger was 1-5 right there. So we hit all-time high for the Dow on the 1-5 date, and then keeled over, went into a downtrend all the way until the end of the Shemitah. And you could see that's October. Right there is where the Shemitah ended, which I taught you guys about. And that was pretty much the bottom of the market thus far for precious metals, indices, and a lot of stocks, actually. We had a little double bottom action and then a very noticeable rally. And this could pretty much be called your automatic rally or the bull trap ending of relief. Now from here, it would be very unlikely for this to make new highs in the structure, especially this fast. But with the Dow and how volatile this market's been lately, it's possible. You could see right here, 10% in 42 days. If this was to pivot right now, we got 10% in 42 days. I mean, literally, where does that put you? April 24th. That's right there at my time frame of the eclipse. And this market could even go up into May. So this is a good place to put up some of this extra data. Okay, I'm going to remove... Actually, let me pull up this chart to have a cleaner... This is great. Okay. Much cleaner for you guys. So now we're just looking at this chart with the fibs. Got from swing high, swing low. We're on logarithmic scale right now. I'm going to go to the log setting and make sure that's turned on. We're good. What we had here was off of this move from buying climax to selling climax, we made it into the golden pocket and we started to really play around with this 702 fib, which is what I teach you guys. And look at the most upside wick price action we got for the Dow. It was all along the 702. I mean, look at this. First touch point, rejection, third rejection, fourth rejection, fifth rejection, sixth rejection, perfectly on the 702. This is why I teach that to everyone, because it's so important. 702, remove the zero, you have 72, and that brings you back to money. Got to pay attention to this code. So naturally, since we've broken and rejected off the 702, come down to the 0.5, which was the prior support level before it came back up, this is a critical thing to pay attention to. We came up to the 618, basically the bottom of the golden pocket, got rejected off the 618, and then this right here was a confirmation. This is probably the end of the automatic rally for the stock market. Okay, pay attention because I'm not speaking on every crypto right now. I'm talking about the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This is a sign to me to look for of the end of automatic rallies. And the fact that we had this huge sell-off and then got all these rejections within the golden pocket is a sign that this was your automatic rally. So the people out there that are saying there is no automatic rally, I don't know what you're looking like. You just don't know. So take some time to study. I'm not trying to be harsh or mean, but as a teacher who puts so much effort into helping break all of this down very, very simply without a lot of complex terms and drawing a bunch of fucking lines all over the place to confuse people. Like, I'm keeping this stupid simple. But I keep hearing over and over again people saying there is no automatic rally when I'm like, well, what do you mean? Look at this. This is textbook. This chart did this, and we have cryptos that have also done this already. I've taught what the automatic rally is, which is after a very noticeable sell-off, you get rejected into the golden pocket, then you start to break down through the golden pocket and head back towards your 382 or 236. That's all it is. You don't really need to make it more complicated than that. This is your automatic rally, and it doesn't need to happen perfectly in synchronicity with every asset class across the board at the same time. If it was that simple, everyone would have caught on to it by now. This is why I teach Wyckoff, because you don't need to look at everything as if it's happening all at once. You could pull up any chart and know where you are, and then know where you're likely to go next. It's the market compass. That's why I love Wyckoff method. Anyways, getting back to this, we can now go to this chart and show that we had a little bit of a pattern, a local pattern. Two things to bring up. I'm going to remove the fib. We had all these perfect rejections on the outside of this yellow trend line. I'm going to change the trend line color to make it a little easier for you guys to see. Perfect rejections at the all-time high, bull trap, lower high. The breakout, we back tested it once, which is a perfect, textbook move you see in TA. Then you came up for a lower high. That's the first red flag. And all of those rejections at the 702 fib that I pointed out before. Now here, when we got to the bottom of this symmetrical triangle, this is where we want to zoom in a little bit more now. But we see clearly that this is a very important trend line. So I'm going to zoom in. We got our triangle. This is just a standard measured move that we're taking. You could put it as far as over here, but I think somewhere in the middle of this mess is probably better, because we have a lot of wicks that are making our data a little bit muddy. But it's natural. We have a hold of support, and then right here on February 21st, we broke through support, came back up to the outside of prior support, and then got rejected to confirm it as a resistance. Now we're going to move to the perfect point of where that rejection was with our measured move, and now let's zoom in even further, and let's look at what we're seeing now. This measured move is perfect how we hit the lows, and we also see that we hit this red trend line, which is the outside of this support line that's been in play now for 430 days. So we get a very noticeable move to the outside of this trend line. We hit the measured move of our bearish target right there at around 31,782. And you can see we get a backup wick right there coming in on November 3rd. So when we rallied out of the selling climax, boom, perfectly hit that level, and then we went up into what I'm calling the start of this automatic rally, or getting within the golden pocket. So we've hit 3 targets. We hit your horizontal level off of the lows in the microstructure. You hit your measured move off of the pattern, and you also hit the outside of this macro prior resistance, which could now be flipping as a short-term support, at least until we get through the May eclipse on May 5th. So I put the green check mark because I think this is it. This is completed as of now. We can see our RSI started to go into close to oversold territory, especially when we're looking at indices. We got to take that into consideration. Now this is this is prime and ready for a bullish relief, a little bit of bullish relief. I'm not saying that we're going to continue much higher. Let me redraw my fibs and give kind of a, I'm going to postulate where we're going to come to next. If this is the completion of this bounce, getting above the 0.5 fib, I do anticipate maybe one more move to the bottom of this golden pocket, and then that would be it. Because right here is a very, very important level for the Dow. I'm going to draw a horizontal line to prove this point. I'm going to change the color to make it a little bit more obvious for everyone. Okay. So it's not only the bottom of the golden pocket, which is important, but you see this rejection right here, false breakout here, rejection before the slide, playing around in this area for 100 days before a rejection perfectly at that level and another leg lower, or a lower low in the micro. And then if you start to zoom out in the past, you get this touch before continuation, you get this false breakdown, which led to continuation, you get a bunch of wicks penetrating this area. So 33,500 points is probably likely for another retest coming soon. And because I just showed you what this is capable of doing in 40 something days, like you can see right here, in 42 days, we went up 10%. And as I show, let's look off of March 15th and go 40 days and only go 7%. And we're just right back at the 702. We know the Dow can do this, so it's not weird. If we make it up to the 618702 one more time, I think that'll be in synchronicity and harmony with Bitcoin and this theory of a automatic rally continuation for Bitcoin. Now, let me go to Bitcoin and kind of show some things that I'm seeing. First, I want to just review the CME chart. We filled the gap. So you can see that we had this gap formed right here on the CME chart between pretty much January 17th and January, the following week open, and we filled it on the day of March 9th, which was 2 days after your full moon. We got below the target, but then sucked into it on a daily close, so that looks really healthy to me. And I was teaching you guys how we had that 22-day cycle to look out for. So let me show you again, just to revisit. You have from right here, which was February 16th, that was your microcycle high, over 22 days gets you this wick low. I don't remember exactly what was the level that I was telling you guys, but I'm sure it was here. There it is. So you see from this wick, negative price action day, over here, it was 22 days. Then if you take from this all-time high back to the microcycle low on this day, it's 22 days. So I'm seeing these 22-day cycles playing out, and it's circled here because this W structure reminds me a lot of what we're seeing right here with this structure. Again, they are different footprints, slightly different footprints, because it's a totally different market cap and world right now. We have so many more economic problems today than we have back in 2019. And that's obvious. It's a shit show right now. For the fact that the Dow is even at 32,000 points right now, that's fraudulent. It makes no sense. But markets don't need to make sense. Play the game. Don't let the game play you. Learn the rules of the game so you could effectively play the game and learn how to effectively break them without getting caught. This is what the code is all about, and removing the emotions from the process. This is what makes you an elite level trader. And you should all know that by now. If you follow my work, you're the elite just by knowing this code. It makes you above and beyond the average person's capacity to understand what's happening here. You have the cheat code manual. So we spoke on the 22-day cycles. We completed one. You could see that right there. From this microcycle top over to this wick, it's perfect. It was a low, but then we have a bullish bounce out of it thus far. Now, if we look from this day, I was talking about it before, the last day we were at 25K, which was on February 21st, and we go over 22 days. That's March 15th, Ides of March. So I'm personally just letting the next couple days play out. I'll probably make one last investment between now and then, just to see. I mean, what would be the real sophisticated decision is waiting for us to get back into like 22.5, just a little bit of a break of these 4 or 5 trading days before we keeled over. So think of the method to my madness here. We have a little bit of trading there. And once we started to break down from those levels, we broke structure. Like it was just a cascading event. But right here, we did want to hold. We did. Right around 22.3. We spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trading days there before just breaking through. So I would like to see Bitcoin get back above 22.5. I mean, ultimately, we want it to get back above 25K. That would be the same condition I've been talking about for weeks now. But now that we got a little bit more of a dramatic sell-off into this recent full moon, I want to see price action above 22.6. And then what this would look like to me is some sort of spring. Basically, where you have your buying climax, you have a little bit of a back test and then a up thrust after a short-term distribution. So this looks like a distribution. This is your UTAD, and then breaking through structure is your spring. So getting back above 22.5 would be like a test, and it would look something like this for my Y coffeeans out there. Test, break up, back test the test, and then you have SOS. SOS would be break of this, and then we just see where it goes from there. I mean, I've shown many times how it's possible for Bitcoin to get to 40K off of just this past iteration right here, where you can see from this closure low up to the wick high was 81% in 22 days. So if we were to consider similar, you have your eclipse here. Bitcoin hit high 6 days before. So that would be in today's world, April 14th. And taking off of this closure level, we have looking at about 36K on a full 80% move from just there in 32 days. That's definitely possible. But the technical level would be once you get over the 0.5 fib, you're almost naturally going to get to the 618. And that's 39,000. So there's really no difference between 39,000 and 40,000, to be completely honest, especially for Bitcoin. But technically, we do see a lot of action here around 36. Like that is a very, very strong level. You could see right here when we broke 36 to the downside was when we went a leg lower. And that was all around that eclipse. That was an eclipse right there. And we're approaching the same time frame, April, May. Maybe it'll be an as above, so below moment where instead of on the downfall, there's just a spike up really quickly, blow off top, and then it rolls over, kind of like here where we had this blow off. I'm going to show you. It literally does look like a blow off. Something like that. So this moment right here is just a more, how do I say it? A more exaggerated version. What we have today is much more exaggerated than there. Let's actually get to some of the macro analysis. 1 second, guys. I just want to take a sip of coffee. Now you can see structurally this is looking a lot more similar to the 2015 cycle based on this bottoming, but that was a Shemitah. So that makes sense too. And we used to talk about that a lot about a year ago. But anyways, we are about to have a bi-weekly close. And this bi-weekly close coming in on a bearish engulfing candle is not looking hot. So there's one thing to be honest about. Let me actually turn off this sell. It confuses. So I want you to look at the 8 simple moving average and how we did back test it, but so far we're holding pretty good. And you see all the rejections we used to have on the 8 simple coming in at April 2022 when Bitcoin was at 41,000. Then we had this cross, it's a wolf cross where the 55 and the 8, but when the 8 is below the 55, downside is implied. Then you start to get rejected off the yellow moving average, the 8, but right here on January 2023, we broke above it. And now we've finally back tested it. This could be a test of it as support, which is really good because you can see these trading weeks right here of October 24th and November 7th. This was your key level where we were having a tough time with. We got rejected all of these weeks at those levels. It could not hold them. This could be your opportunity to hold it. Let's look at some of the moving averages. Oof. Okay, so this is a good thing that we pointed out. You see right here, this orange moving average is the 21 exponential, and we still have this in bearish posture where the 34 is above the 21, above the 13, and we're not even holding the 13. So this week was definitely an anomaly and an exaggerated sell-off across the board. We know that. Now, getting to the weekly, let me turn this. Weekly, we're starting to see that 25K area, the 55 simple, 200 simple, and 200 exponential all coiling together. If we can get over 25K, this thing is going to slingshot fast because these are the 3 key moving averages that are going to be resistance, as they were resistance going back to the last new moon. New moon was bullish. We got to our levels, but we got rejected. This is a very, very, very important level for Bitcoin. Let's turn this off and see what's going on with the EMAs. And the EMAs are just trying to get into order. You can see the 13 got above the 21, but now we're trading below both of those moving averages, and we got rejected on the 34. We could not hold that 34. If I see the 13, the blue moving average, cross above the 34, that's a good, healthy sign. And because this is a weekly chart, that's a macro candle close to get above. That could be as little as just Bitcoin getting back to like 22K by next week. If we can get back to 22K, 22.5 by next week and get above that 34, this would look like a very healthy backtest. Even though it's like a crypto backtest, you know, it's super dramatic, super fast, and there's a negative narrative tied to it. Like now that we have what's going on with the USDC and DAI, you know, it is what it is. And I know you guys all got my update yesterday where I shared my thoughts about USDC and DAI, and it's just come to life with what I said to Bearable Bull on the interview that I did with him. He wanted to talk about Tether and like Tether FUD and my position on it, and I told him what I've been saying for the last 2 years, which is the Tether FUD psyop is to get everyone to think that Tether is going to be the one that crashes. Meanwhile, there's all these other stable coins that start to have problems and they actually crash. And that was proven for the first time with Terra Luna and their stable coin. And that happened back in November of 2022. When that happened, people started to believe me more on what I've been saying about Tether, which is it's an instrument of the New World Order. It's an instrument of the elite. It's designed to not fail, because it is their money washing blockchain, you know, instrument. I know that's like a big clear pill for a lot of people, but it's just what I see. As something becomes popular, I look the other way, and it became really popular for years to talk about Tether FUD. And what's going on now? The coin that used to get promoted as one of the best alternatives, which is USDC, USD coin, is going through some issues. So you got to think, guys, like this is a classic trap of sentiment and getting people to believe that if Tether is bad, then there must be other better things. And I've never said that. I've always said that all stable coins are more alike than they are different. I don't promote any specific stable coin because I think they're all kind of dog shit. I think the best thing to be in is cash, fiat. That has real world use case. What we're going to get with stable coins in the future is your CBDCs, and that is not the future that people should want. So I get if you're holding stables for trading or if you have a high yield earned interest account, but at this time I would stay away from these high yield earned interest wallets because of what happened with Celsius and BlockFi. And these are just black swan events, as what's going on right now with USDC, with DAI, and perhaps a couple other stable coins. It's just black swan events. You don't see it coming. But being prepared by not believing that one thing is the enemy and everything else must be better is really what I'm trying to teach here. Because if you would have just like thought for a moment how if everyone is against a project, it's probably not the problem as much as it is the ones that people are promoting more as a positive thing. This is why I stay away from like the XRP army stuff and the Bitcoin maxi and the hexagon. Like I just am a technical analyst. I want to look at things holistically and remove my emotion from markets. And you do that by not being tribal and not believing that you know like something is what it is. Because Bitcoin was called a scam throughout it dumping to 3K back in 2020 in March, all the way until it hit almost 70K. It was being called nonsense the whole time, but it's funny because it took Bitcoin breaking out above 19,000 back in November of 2021. It took that, 2020. It took price discovery for Bitcoin for all the other coins to have price discovery. And people weren't listening to me back then, that Bitcoin is just filling out the mythological story. It is the artificial sun of Satoshi. It is the sun of this market. It is the energy source, the power plant. If Bitcoin keels over 70 or 80%, altcoins lose 90 to 95% of their value, sometimes more. We watched all this come to reality too. And those are the big things that I want people to remember most. Also, excuse me, this horrible music is now starting up again across the... So let's speed this up. I have a lot to get into though. Wow, very, very loud. Our weekly is not looking so good. You can see 21.3 buyback would be very, very good at this time. We can't confirm that. We have later on, CME will be opening up. Dow Jones will be opening up. We also have the weekly close coming in just a couple hours after that. I also believe today is daylight savings time. I don't know if that affected the market closing time. Perhaps now the market is closing at 8 p.m. Eastern instead of 7. We'll see. And if that change is happening, I'll try to remember that. That would give us an extra hour trading with precious metals, Forex, and the Dow Jones. So that definitely changes the dynamic of everything. Oh, also XRP is taking a little bit of a hit right now, so I'm assuming its dominance is getting crushed. There you go, 4% down on dominance. Fuck. So there's something going on with XRP. We'll get into that in a second. But I want to finish up this Bitcoin TA. Now, we have our bi-weekly close coming in. I touched on that. I touched on the weekly just moments ago. We have a 3-day and 2-day closure coming up tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, big close. We'll have a 3-day candle and a 2-day candle. And thus far, we're holding bullish posture on our EMAs, but on the 2-day, it's starting to coil together. So we don't really want this to happen because they're going to coil together around 22K, which is above us. And as we rise into them, that could always be a rejection level. And your prior support in the macro, in the micro was around 21.7. When we popped up one more time, we tried to hold that back in early March, and on the full moon, we dumped through it. So this is a key area, somewhere around 21. Wow, like right there at the 34 EMA and 22K. It's really, really something to consider. Oh, and then look at that. On the 2-day, we also have our 200 exponential, 200 simple moving average perfectly at 25K. Yeah, take a quick sip of coffee. You guys could listen to this horrendous music they're playing. Okay. I love hip hop, by the way. You guys know that, but a lot of it is just a lot of the mainstream stuff. These guys are saying nothing. Like, they're not saying anything. They're talking about like drugs and shooting people, and it's sad. It's fucking sad. Now, talking about your addiction and talking about what's going on for you in life on a personal level, and just opening up about that I support, that I love. But then pushing all this like selling drug shit, and it's insane. Anyways. We could see that the daily chart has a lot going on around 21.7 to 22.2. Keep that in mind, guys. We have this wolf cross of the 55 and the 8, with the 8 below the 55. That's negative. And all of our exponential moving averages have crossed below the 55 simple. That's not bueno. It's not looking good right now. But a back test on this 200 does look fine. Let me show you another thing that could be helpful. Let me see if I can find this chart for you guys. Oh, boom. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to turn off these moving averages, and we're just going to look at this based in fibs. So I have this local high on the 5th of November to the low that Bitcoin hit around 15,500. This fib pull, I think, is very critical for this stage. So we have the swing high to swing low. We have Bitcoin rising into the 1618, the golden ratio, and getting rejected at that level perfectly. You can see that. Then when we return down to the top of this structure, we broke down a little bit deeper, but we broke down into a very normal area, which is the golden pocket. Now look at this wick back test we got right at the 702, which is what I teach. So when we touched the 702, then got sucked back into a daily close above the 786, this is very healthy. This looks actually pretty good. So if I just turn off all those indicators and I start looking at it based in this very local pattern, it's very local structure, I like this. Now the one thing to be said here is I want to see trading above that 888. And within 24 hours of this test of the 702, we got rejected at the 888. So just keep that in mind, everyone. This is really important. We need to get above that. Getting above that would be key, and then ideally the 22.5 area, which is these 5 straight trading days getting rejected. Let's look at ETH. Okay, so very spring-like as well for those people who are into Wyckoff. Very much like a spring, and this is a key level. So 1500 psychological, it's clean. We've tested it yesterday, but we're not over it just yet. So I think getting back above that level would be nice, but these 5 trading days right there, very similar to Bitcoin, getting us above 1580. That's what I would like. Above 1580, then it would just look like a spring, because this would be your test area, like this. Test, and then that would confirm spring, getting above that level. So what we want right now is getting closes above 1580, 1570 on ETH, and if we continue to close several days as a resistance here at 1500, then that's not a good sign. Ultimately, though, we have a lot of data for ETH to play around with, going back 240 days. So if you zoom out, this doesn't look that weird, right? Let me show you with all of this turned off. We're just horizontal right now. We're holding structure too. We have lows, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and we're currently at higher lows. So we're still in structure. We're still trapped though until we break this high at 2050. So I can't say too much more different than my last red pill that I released. Yeah. That 1570 in the short term would be ideal, but then you would want to get above that 1800 and 2000. Until then, this is just still trapped sideways. XRP taking a little bit of a hit today, breaking to the downside, retesting the neckline of this W. Something's going on right now then, because 4% down while the rest of the market is doing pretty fine is weird. So yeah. Let me show you though. It's this trend line. Been talking about it for a while. This trend line is everything for XRP. It cannot get above it. It just keeps, we're talking about, let's look at how many days. 700. Okay, this is going to be a longer red pill podcast, but it's a legendary one for sure. 700 days getting rejected on this trend line. This is the most important trend line for XRP. Okay, so I don't have much more to say. Right now, we're breaking structure in the micro. We have even broke below this neckline here at 36.5. This is really odd. But what we could look is daily close holding 34. So 34 cents is good right now. When we start getting below 33, where are we going next? You know, like, let me show you what I'm saying. That's it. You have your first wick, rejections, snaking around it, back test high in the micro, then snaking around it, back testing it after this yearly pump in 2022 up to 57 cents. Holding this level thus far in the entire end of 2022, the end of the Shemitah, and up till today. So that's your horizontal level to keep in mind, 33.5, somewhere around 33 cents. That would probably be the best lower target to get XRP at if we wanted to swoop down one more time before moving up. And honestly, it's not only this trend line, it would be structural highs above 44 cents, getting above that level for the yearly, because right now our yearly high is 43. So breaking that would be crucial. Still no parties above 56. So I can't say much more than that. That's about as much as I could update. Near protocol. Let's see what's going on with this. I think it's been a minute since I've covered it. Okay, we got a lot of chart data going back to 2020. So this is where the episode gets a little bit more on the spicy side. I think it's funny how Near is trading at 181 right now, which is the 40-second prime number. We talked about that a lot today. See what's going on right here. Bellissimo. Okay, let me turn my 1618 a different color. I don't like when I like it when it's like this. Okay, so you see what I did, swing high to swing low. We got rejected on the 1618, and then we come down into the golden pocket, can't hold the golden pocket, then we naturally go to the 382, come up on the rejection at the 0.5 fib, and then slid into Hades. So now we're gonna pull an inverse fib. Now this could be how low we go. 75 cents in the future. So keep that in mind. That's a level on Near Protocol that you really, really want to consider. We have two things. We have this level right here, which is that wick back test. We broke a little bit below it here. So that would be your solid first levels to keep in mind, but then ultimately you want to look for this. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because I have a bearish fib pulled from this level up in reverse to the current all-time high. I can confirm this level very easily because you can see a test at that level before we slid through it, and then look at after we came back up on a little bit of the relief, we got rejected off of it about 5 times. So that was a perfect bearish fib pull. And it's showing me my 1618 is in hell, literally 75 cents, 76 cents. Oh, it's funny too how Near has that same as gold, the 3813, the 38 and the 70. Oh, wow, bro. So we do this all the time. This is what I teach in my exit strategy blueprint. We type in the whole name of the crypto, then we type in the ticker symbol. So we have Near Protocol is the whole name, and Near is the ticker symbol. And where is the Chaldean is 67, which is the mirror of 76, which is showing you that 76 right there on that 1618. And that was pretty much where this thing launched at as well. Let's see if I'm getting any 20s or 21s. It'd be interesting. There you go. It hit an all-time high of $20 in reduction, which is like my second most useful cipher. I keep my Chaldean and my English ordinal as like number 1, tied for number 1. Full reduction is my second most important, especially when I'm decoding crypto. And we got that $20 perfectly. Near is 20. Bada bing, bada boom. This is how Gematria works, fam. But anywho, this is pretty deep correction. You guys typically see me do this, where I pull 94%. So that should really be your selling climax. But if we have like a black swan that shows up in October, I'd be looking for that 75 cents. This is another way of me saying that if this thing starts to have its relief, it's probably something to get out of completely. So now we're going to go to that, because I don't think we're going to break this low in the short term. I think that this is currently your selling climax. This is currently your buying climax. When I'm showing this price target of 76 cents, that could be in the future. That could even happen in 2024. But for now, this is what we're working with. Near got to the 236, and then it started to get rejected perfectly at these prior back tests. So that's not healthy. That's another sign that this is weak, and this is traded by mostly retail, very unsophisticated trading. I have just a regular fib pulled, by the way, from that swing high to swing low. I want to get this over the 382, and then I would anticipate a relief rally as high as $6.12, which would be that level right there. I don't think that this can make it into the golden pocket. It's very unlikely. So let me show you here what we're working with that upside target. We have a little bit of a crown distributional top, which snaked around this level. We have a little bit of trading range before popping up a back test, another back test before buying climax. So we could see all these clear touch points. Then we have this final pump before breakdown into the full 95% correction. I don't think this thing is going higher than $6 if it's going to go up again and break this 382. I would be very conservative, and I would keep it to the 0.5 fib on this one. I'm not saying it's even going to go to 6. I think that it would be even more likely that it just stays around $4.50 to $5 maximum if we're going to move up much more. And that would be like, that's like 100%, 150%, 200% move. And that's not weird. Crypto does that shit all the time. I mean, even off of this move right here, we're probably looking at 80%. Oh, there you go. Look, 130% off of that buying climax up. We know it could do it. We know it can, especially between now and May 5th. So keep that in mind. This could just be a back test of a higher low. So you want to break structure. That means getting above 270 is good, but I like to break the 382 to anticipate continuation of the automatic rally. Now we're going to go to Terra Classic, the shitcoin of shitcoins. This thing went from $119, 119, 911 backwards, and then it got ritualized on 911. Sorry, 11.9. One second. Dealing with this chart is horrible. This is fun to look at, isn't it? It's like climbing the stairway to heaven. Wow, what a piece of trash. Okay, so what I have going on here, I know this is really hard to see, but this is a fib pulled from this high right here. So you see this big red candle? None of this counts. That was a 99.93% drop on just that candle. It started to trade into fractions of a fraction of a penny. So I have my fib from this high right here. I know it's really hard to see, but it's from swing high to this swing low. And that is what I'm paying attention to. Now, we see this move right here was pretty dramatic, and it's now we're getting into a problem where you can see the 236 is close because we just broke structure right there on the December 20th lows. We started to close multiple dailies in a row below that level, getting us to the 382. So this 382 needs to hold, and it wouldn't be weird if it held, because right there you can see a lot of trading range coming up into those levels. I'm not even going to try to read this number because it's fractions of a fraction of a penny. You know, this is something where like you throw a couple $100 in and just leave it for like 5 years and maybe one day. But I would not play around with more than 0.5% in my portfolio with this garbage. And also, fuck this company. Fuck Do Kwon. Like, all of the people that are tied to this nonsense, it's all just see, people learn the truth about blockchain and cryptocurrency through events like this. And you know why I warned about this coin more than any coin throughout all of 2021. If there was any coin that I talked more about the caution of it and having large positions in it, it was Terra Luna. Second one was Solana, and Solana lost like 96% of its value, so that was also a solid call. And it was only because people were getting so bullish in it when it was already overvalued, substantially overvalued. And I didn't see really much of a long-term vision in either project. Now we're seeing Terra Luna, that's obvious because it slid to zero. Now Solana is kind of like on the chopping block. We don't know where that's going. I saw through all that mess, and this is really playing with a hot potato. I would not get emotionally involved in this at any capacity, but that's probably what's going to happen to a lot of people. I know on this swing up, there was a lot of opportunity because in under 3 months, you're pretty much looking at a 10x, but since then, you know, you've dropped again another 80%. So this is a shit coin. It's not something to be focused on, but it got the most votes this week for whatever reason. I don't know what update happened. Not really sure, but the 236 would be your next technical target. You have horizontal trading range coming in right here, which could hold you. If it wants to slide down one more time, 0001 would be your level, pretty much where you're trading at now. And then in the event of an automatic rally happening for the rest of the crypto market, this thing can come up to about the 702. I would say that at best, maybe another 120%, which is like what everything else is going to do. I don't even think it'll break this top probably until late 2024 if this stays having value. Because what's to come in October, this thing can go completely to zero. So watch out, guys. I don't know what more to say on this, though. It lost 99.99% of its value. It had a rally that was a very sharp reaction. It's lost 80% since then off of that rally. It hasn't been able to recover at all from its losses. It's still right here where it was from the day that it reached bottom on the crash. If you think about it, May 13th of 2022, it crashed on that May eclipse. It's still back in that chop from right here. Actually, the lows of the chop. Think about that. So this is trash. Rune, Oh, by the way, this is a Red Pill podcast. It gets spicy. Don't take offense to what I'm saying because you didn't create the projects. You didn't create the coins. You have nothing to do with the team behind it. You're probably not a programmer. So I speak this way because I want people to see that you should not be emotionally invested in this stuff. If it hurts your feelings, what I'm saying, then that means you have pride in fairy dust. In the speculative gambling casino called altcoins. I just play the game. I don't hate it. I don't date it. I just trade it. Now we're on Thorchain Rune, which is one of the best performing cryptos ever. 180,000% gains. So here we are now where it's given up what it should have given up. 95%, so that's normal. Very interesting chart here with this like triple valley, like 3 pyramids thing going on. I have a bearish fib pulled perfectly from this level around $3.20. I would call that perfect because we have a touch, another touch, and then we started to get rejections at that level. Then one final rejection before we led to the finality of the selling climax. And where is that level? Perfectly 1618 getting touched. So this fib is completed. This selling climax is completed. So what's next? Your automatic rally. Oh, and this might be helpful for people too. Waters. Well, if Quant hit its automatic rally like a year ago, and there's coins that still haven't hit their automatic rally, and maybe they can't hit their automatic rally in April and May, then what should I expect? Well, you need to understand that this isn't timing. Automatic rally in Wyckoff is not about timing. What we do with decoding, with date numerology, astrology, and gematria, that's where we get into the timing. But as for automatic rally and selling climax and all of that, there's no Wyckoff timing of all of this. They don't time the market. It's time in the market to these OGs, which Wyckoff was. He died like 100 years ago, and his methodology still works to this day. So when we're talking about April and May, it's just the most likely time for Bitcoin to complete its automatic rally cycle, but that doesn't mean that coins could have already completed it. I think a good example of today of a coin that's pretty damn close to completing it would be Hex. Like live action, it's pretty much on its process to completion of its automatic rally. A coin that there is also 2 coins we covered last week. I believe one was Fetch AI and the other one was Stacks. Those hit their automatic rallies. Go watch that podcast. You'll see perfect examples. So Thorchain Rune has gained like a gajillion %. It doesn't need to hit an automatic rally next. It needs to give back, actually. There's coins that are suppressed that have opportunity to grow. There's coins that need to give back. Rune is one of them. It needs to give back gains. So please understand that this is holistic. You need to look at everything that's included in this. 95% correction, we're pretty good. From swing high to swing low on this fib, I mean, we'd be lucky to get to the 382 on this mess. Because you see that it's just right back pretty much at its structural lows when Bitcoin had a little bit of a correction. We're comparing $1 to $1.20, which is a 25% gain. I think even Bitcoin has performed better off of its 15,000 to 20,000 where it is right now. So this coin really just needs to give back gains, making me feel that at best the 382 fib is in the cards for this thing. You can see right there, touch, 2 attempts at support, and then we broke through that level. So that's my level right there. It's pretty much the same level I was using for the bearish fib. I would be calling 382 somewhere around $3.30. And if it can go higher, I mean, you're looking at maybe the 0.5 fib, maybe $4. But $3.30 to $4 would be where I would see that slowing down and rolling over. Unless there's a miracle. Okay, now this is interesting. We're looking at Nano right now. I did not know that Nano rebranded. Look at this rebrand they did. So we have a couple things here, some alchemical symbology. We have earth over air. This would be like the true sign for that too. Let me show you. We talked a little bit about alchemy symbols yesterday. So you have your air symbol, which kind of looks like an A, and this is not right, by the way. This basic alchemy, all of the ways that they show you this, where it's a completed triangle, that's actually, according to my study, Wrong. Because this would be 4 strikes of the pen. You have 1, 2, 3, and 4 would be your line. That is not how it goes. It should be 3 strikes of the pen, not 4. Okay, this is a little more advanced, but I believe that the true air symbol should look like an A, actually, with extended lines. Basically what Nano looks like at the bottom. Now you could see here, this X is cut perfectly in the middle, and then it has the A right there. This equal sign is like within the X. So you could get a little deeper into the symbology here. X is the 24th letter in the alphabet, and anything with the X in it is definitely tying you back to these ISOs in one way or the other. 17, 7th prime. Was it XNO? 17, 17. We got all these 17s in Nano right now. It's pretty clear, right, guys? But yeah, they even corrupt your fucking symbolism. Oh my God, Nano hit $17. This is all. See, I don't need to prove anymore that Gematria doesn't work. Like, it's how amazing is this? Like, we're talking about XNO, it gives you 17 twice, Nano giving you 17. The fucking all-time high is $17. And it was like a huge, massive wick that just shoots up. Like, you can't, it's undeniable. It's undeniable. Anyways. Now what we're looking at is a clear buying climax, and I'm seeing like a 97% sell-off. So this is your C19 crash. This is your SOS. This is your backup phase, cup and handle backup phase, which led to another to the finality of the buying climax. So you see we're basically at all-time support right now, like today. Look at that. Test, snaking around, got right back above it, V-shaped recovery in the C19 crash, tested back to it on your backup phase, came right back to it after your bull run, snaked around it a little bit, just like we did here. So let me show you. We got a little bit below it on the selling climax, but pretty much thus far, this is your horizontal support. It's somewhere around 73 cents. See if I'm getting anything else. Got your 25th prime, so that's tied directly back to cryptocurrency. I'm pretty sure the all-time low on this right now is 25 cents. Right there, literally 25 cents is your all-time low. We also got that 53 being the 16th prime, so that's something that's interesting for me too. Anywho, pulling a fib right now to see where some of our targets to get, and then we're going to wrap this one up. Okay, so we have a lower high. This wick right there is insanity, nonsense. Getting above the 382, and this one could rally to like 380. Basically $3 to 380. That'd be a really sick buyback. But that's a little too hard. Yeah, 400% that fast. It's possible because we know this coin can move. Like, I mean, right there, you went 600% in 39 days. So this first move right there, holy shit. Look at that. This coin went up 400% in 4 days. So we know it can move. Like, it does this all the time. Look at this wick right here. This single day, it went up 86% on the daily close. If we go from wick to top, it was 200% in 1 day. What the fuck happened on this day? So this coin can move 200% in a day, then it could move 300% in a month. Just keep that in mind. Now, as for the future of this project, we do have a possibility of it going much deeper because it went that low during the C19 crash. And think about this. We have a couple projects that we've watched start to break the C19 lows, such as Bitcoin Satoshi Vision. Talk about a shit coin. Is that Craig Wright's project? That's going really well, clearly. But anyways, jokes aside, this 95, 97% sell-off. When we get into October, this could be returning back to like the 20 cent, 30 cent region. It could break below 65 cents and start to actually treat this whole area as a, oh, look at that. So you see where the selling climax low came in? 53 cents. Look, perfectly 53 cents, and XNO equals 53. I would not even be surprised if that happened right as they were rebranding. That's how coded this shit is. Wow, incredible. So yeah, I would not hold this in my portfolio. This chart is really not healthy looking. It does have a lot of chart data. I like how it made it through the C19 crash and had a nice bull run, but it only had a good bull run because everything else went into price discovery because of Bitcoin. But then this 95, 96% sell-off getting right back into the C19 levels. Right here, if you consider where Bitcoin was compared to this, Bitcoin was trading at 3,800 right here. Now here, it was trading at 15,000. This compared to Bitcoin would be like if Bitcoin recently, as recent as November of 2022, was trading at like $5,000. And it wasn't. It was trading 3x higher than that. So this is a really good thing that I just pointed out to show how speculative and not worth it stuff like this is, unless you're in it at the right time. So moving forward, I would probably hold off on this, regardless of like the alchemical symbolism we're getting in the code and all of that. I would probably hold off on this until after the Bitcoin halving in 2024. So I'm going to wrap this episode up. This was a really long episode today, but I got so much gnosis shared with you all. I really appreciate every single one of you. Tomorrow I will be connecting with Jason over at Archaics. We're definitely going to be discussing some of the things that you guys wrote in the thread that I created. Stuff on simulation theory, of course. We're going to be talking a little bit about October and November of this year. I'm also going to be connecting with Logan later today on a similar topic. So those two podcasts are going to be back to back, packed full of stuff, bringing you guys best possible art out there. I appreciate all of your support. Wishing you a beautiful rest of your weekend. Much love.